By 443 BC, the Romans had once again established their dominance in central Italy, and everybody wanted to have the Romans on their side. Many people would ask for Roman help to settle any type of dispute, even when it didn't involve the Romans or the Roman interest. This led to the Samnite and Campanian dispute. The Samnites were a semi-nomadic tribe that decided to come down from the hills and settle Campania, a lovely and peaceful area with fertile soil. The Campanians freaked out about having these encroaching tough Samnites and sent envoys to Rome to help them out. The Romans, however, had previously made a treaty with the Samnites and had sworn oath under the gods. They had rejected the Campanian envoys and sent them on their way. However, when the Campanians decided to surrender themselves and their land to Rome, Rome totally took up the offer because it realized that with this land, they would never have a grain famine again. The Romans then went to the Samnites and told the Samnites that Campania was in their territory. The Romans then went on to say that the Samnites had to leave because of the treaty they had agreed upon. The Samnites were pissed and decided to declare a raid on Campania, right in front of the Roman messengers. Romans then decided that this was a breach on the treaty, and thus the First Samnite War began. The first battle was with the legendary consul Marcus Valerius Corvus, who had the first run-in with the Samnites. Here, the Romans fought a hard battle and narrowly won, merely rerouting the Samnites for the time being. This was an important battle because it showed the Romans that the Samnites were tougher than they thought. The second battle was led by the other consul Cossus, who led his troops into the Samnite territory into a ravine, not realizing that the Samnites could shower them with rocks. However, one of Cossus's military tribunes, Decius, had an idea to have a few Romans sneak out and distract the Samnites as the legions escaped the ravine. Cossus agreed and had Decius execute the plan. Decius was able to sneak up to the hill before the Samnites even knew what was happening. The Roman legions were able to escape to safety. This left Decius and the other men in a tough situation because they were surrounded by this hill by tons of angry Samnites. When night fell, Decius and his men went successfully without being noticed through the sleeping Samnite forces until one of his men dropped a shield on a Samnite. At this point, Decius told his men to kill anything moving, and the drowsy Samnites were super confused. Decius had his men all escape to safety without a single man missing. Decius went back to the camp and told Cossus to attack immediately, as the Samnites were still dazed and confused. The Romans got a victory with almost no resistance. The third and final battle was fought again by Corvus, once he had heard that the Samnite troops that he had rerouted were preparing for battle. Corvus had made the call to mobilize immediately, only taking the necessities. When they set up camp with their limited supplies, the Samnites made the wrong assumption that the Romans barely had anybody there. The Samnites then wanted to lay siege on them and starve them out. As the Samnites split up, the troops went around and attacked. The Samnites were so shocked by the flood of Romans coming out of the tiny encampment that they gave up easily. This final victory for the Romans resulted in the end of the First Samnite War.